Welcome back to my channel. My name is Blair if you're new here. Today we're going to do a bake with me and we're going to make jam bars. This is a recipe my mom used to make a lot for us as kids. So we're going to try it myself. I've never actually made it, but I do have the recipe. So I do have my coffee. I'm a little sleepy this afternoon. I don't know why, but I do want this sweet treat for later, so I want to get it baked. So I'm going to show you the ingredients. It's actually pretty simple, not a lot of them, and then I'll show you how I make it. Okay, so for ingredients, I just have salt, baking soda. You're going to need 1.5 cups of margarine, not butter, but margarine. The recipe does call for quick oats. All I have is rolled oats, but my mom said if I just kind of crunch them up a little bit so they're not so coarse, that'll work. Brown sugar, and of course all-purpose flour. So let's start by preheating the oven, and then we're also going to grease the pan. Now the recipe does say to use a cookie sheet. My mom actually said that she used to do it in a cookie sheet because she doubled it, so it made like a ton of them because there was 5 of us kids, so you always need a lot more. I'm actually going to do it in a 9 by 13 baking dish. Just what I want to do. I'm not doubling the batch. I will, of course, write the whole recipe out in the description box down below if you want to try it out. Let me know if you do. But let's go preheat the oven to 375 and grease the pan, and then we'll start mixing everything else. All right, so we start by preheating the oven to 375, and then I greased a casserole dish, although I would recommend using a cookie sheet if you want it crunchy or thinner. Now, as I've mentioned, I'm using rolled oats instead of quick oats. So what I did is took in a Ziploc bag and put the 3 cups of oatmeal. And then I just kind of banged it on the counter a little bit so it would break it up. So it was a little more like a quick oat consistency. I will say this is a great way to get your aggressions out. And then to the oats, you're going to go ahead and add 3 cups of flour, all-purpose flour actually. Now I tried to mix it as I went so it wouldn't be too separated because this was turning out to be more mixed than I was expecting. And then I added 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and again I stirred it up. Next we add a half a teaspoon of salt. The last dry ingredient is going to be 2 cups of brown sugar. And then the last thing that you're going to add into this was 1.5 cups of margarine. Now you do want to keep this cold. You don't want it warmed up too much. And I took a knife to it and just kind of cut it into little slabs of butter, I guess, just to try and make it easier for mixing. Now, I'm not gonna lie, after I started adding the butter and attempted to try and mix this with a fork, because I wasn't sure, my mom just put mix into coarse crumbs, I started to realize that this was not going to work. I also realized that my bowl was too small. So I went ahead and got a bigger bowl out so I could mix it a little bit better. So again, this was a learning process for me because I'd never made it before. And again, I also realized that the fork was not going to work. So I grabbed some medical gloves and just kind of got in there with my hands and did it, which works, but I wouldn't recommend it because your hands warm the butter and you're supposed to keep it cold. So you really need like a pastry cutter, I think it's called, or a pastry blender thing, or to just point blank use a hand mixer. It's a little easier. Then you're going to take about 2/3 of this mixture and put it into the bottom of your pan. Again, if it's on a cookie sheet, it'll end up much thinner, but you want to press it down really firm. Then you take your jam and put a nice thin layer across the whole thing. And then you take the remaining 1/3 of the mixture, crumble it on top, and then you'll want to press it lightly. Don't push too hard, but lightly to kind of create a, I guess, thicker consistency. And then into the oven for about 25 minutes to cook. Now when you take it out of the oven, you want to let it cool for probably about 12-ish minutes so it can start to harden a little bit. And then you do want to cut it into bars right away while it's still warm. And then you can let it cool the rest of the way down. You're not supposed to eat it hot. It's supposed to be a cooler dish. Now once it's cooled all the way, you can pull out a bar and go ahead and eat it. If you do it the right way in the cookie sheet, so they're thinner and kind of harder consistency, you can definitely eat it just like a bar, like a granola bar would be. I unfortunately wasn't patient and I took it out early, so mine was still warm and I ended up using a fork for it for the most part. So this is the crumb bars. I'm gonna tell you now, I didn't let them cool enough because normally they kind of stiffen up more, so it's like a true bar. But I really wanted some, so. But yeah, so. And I don't know about the grape. You can use any type of jam that you want. You just want to make sure it's jam. My mom always did it with either apricot or strawberry, I think. I wanted to do grape. Strawberry's not my favorite, and I can't remember what apricot tastes like, and I didn't want to make a batch of something I wasn't going to eat. I do love grape. The jar said it was jam. It looked like jelly, so I don't know. I'm going to try this. Just like I remembered it. It's really good. I'm gonna let it cool some more so I can cut some more out of the pan. But I hope you enjoyed. If you do decide to make the recipe, let me know. Again, I'll put it in the description down below. And as always, I hope everybody has a blessed day.